On the 12th and final day of throwing tips my throws coach gave to me, do's, don'ts, and distance killers. Okay, that didn't really rhyme, but you know, you kind of get the idea. So at any rate, welcome. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed these 12 days of throwing tips. The idea here is as we head into the 2024 season, we want to make sure that you guys have an option or are aware that there's a lot of key details, and if you take care of these details, everything falls into place, and faster results, bigger results, and consistent results are absolutely achievable. We've proved it, and you want to unlock your throwing power and potential, and you have to be able to understand exactly what you need to do. If you do it randomly and you're trying to grasp things and glean YouTube and even just looking at our Instagram, while we put up good tips, they're just sections and pieces of coaching sessions. We're meant to provide a good tip, but nothing's going to beat live training, coaching every week, a system, a structure, and how to put everything together that you need to achieve the results you're looking for. Now that said, we're going to talk real specific about the finish, and so many people say, how do I get a better finish? So we're going to talk about do's, don'ts, and distance killers for developing the most optimal finish and how to avoid your don'ts and your distance killers, things that you don't want to do and things that are absolutely distance killers that you want to stop immediately. So one of the first things we're going to do, we're going to talk about both events, and one of the key things is that in do's, we talk about the finish. We always have a couple of simple variables in mind. One, we have to have the right heel-toe position, so that way when the feet line up and they turn into the throw, the hips are squared up. We get some people who close off. This is why you'll tell, most coaches know you can't have the feet here. On occasion, you're seeing this being taught in the shot. Drives me insane. And I talked about this in the last tip, because what that does is it always forces the athlete to open the upper body. I've had multiple athletes who've come in over the years. They learned this old school BS about smashing your foot parallel to the toe board, and then you can't get your foot turned so your hips are facing this way, and you're trying to get your hips facing that way. Well, when your foot's smashed up against the toe board and you can't turn, you're going to open your upper body into the throw. So guess what? When you start landing in the correct spot, what do? You open up and you pull off the throw. So that is an absolute distance killer. If you were taught, or you're doing this, or you're a coach who teaches, put your foot up there. I'm telling you right now, I just told you why it's wrong. Stop doing it. You're killing yourself. You're going to drive yourself nuts as a coach, and you're creating a massive technical limitation that's going to facilitate teaching your athlete how to lead and open the upper body prematurely because their lower body is blocked off and unable to move into the throw. Now, when it comes to do's, like I said, set the heel-toe position and understand that the block leg needs to push down into the ground, and the delivery side is going to rotate this way while the upper body is going to go more linear, right? It's this motion is what you're trying to do. So that's your technical understanding. Lower body leads, upper body follows, upper body is squared up. If I'm in the discus, upper body squared up, and I want to be stretched. I never want to see this in the discus. I don't want to see this in the shot. I want to see the hip, the lower body turning myself into the throw, whether it's the shot or the discus. So those are your basic do's. Heel-toe position, lower body leads, upper body follows, stay squared, and deliver the implement out. Those are your do's. The don'ts. What you want to avoid is what I told you before, putting your foot up against the toe board, or even doing that in the discus. And then the other thing we talked about in one of our tips is getting the chest up. We want the chest up, and I always express this at camps. We absolutely do. We want the chest up 100%. Do we want to actively drive the chest up? No. So one of the things we have to be careful of and understand is that we want to be able to rotate when we're creating that right sequence through the finish. The chest will be up, and you'll get that nice delivery shot or discus with the chest up. Sometimes people refer to this as the inverted C, but what you're going to notice is you're going to see the position of the knee, the hip, and the chest, and you see the body in the right angle, which can give the appearance of a C, but if you'll notice that the shoulders, hips, and knee are all stacked up, which is going to give you power, much like you would see on any type of a squatting move, especially something like a jerk, how you would be lined up so that you could drive up. You wouldn't drive your chest back, try to dip, because that's going to throw everything off and you would lose power and the inability to push up. So you have to make sure that you have the stack through the finish. That's, again, another technical do. Stack the knee, hip, and the chest, and watch out that you're not driving the chest up. That's your distance killer. And so a don't, right? You don't want to do those distance killers, and you want to be conscious of the balance arm, block arm. When we're trying to make that finish so much better, the discus, the arm just pulls down. You'll notice when throwers finish through, that arm stays in position almost all the way through until they're fully in the recovery mode. Then the arm will loosen up and move. But they'll hit the block, and sometimes people teach to come open. I understand why that's there, but I'm going to tell you that's a very, very advanced cue. I think it's a huge mistake to work with that with developing athletes, and I think even many athletes that are at the college level don't have the skill set or the background to be able to apply an advanced cue like that. And one of the things we talk about with throwing cues in training is that even though we have level 1 drills that can be used by a beginner and an Olympic champion, we have a foundational technical drill that has application that's done at a higher level by an elite athlete versus a developing athlete that's here. But we have to understand the concept that training the throw is like training math. You go arithmetic, algebra, geometry, trig, calculus. And so oftentimes what happens with throwing is somebody out there who's teaching trig, because they're dealing with elite collegiates or pros, will start teaching you a trig cue, and you don't know how to do arithmetic, algebra, or geometry. And so this trig cue, you have to have these things in order to do trigonometry. If you don't, your trigonometry is going to suck. So what happens is a lot of times people are jumping to this and their basic math levels are not learned, and they're throwing. So throwing is very much the same thing. And I did just tongue tie myself a touch, but if you don't go in a linear process with throwing, you're going to drive yourself nuts because you can't put the cart before the horse, and that's going to be really important. So remember, when it comes to the finish, we've just got some basic rules. Pay attention to those. Watch this again. Check it out. We want right heel toe position, correct mechanics, and we want a couple of things we want to avoid, and we want to watch those absolute distance killers. And again, hopefully you enjoyed our throws, our 12 throws tips that your lovely throws coach with an amazing singing voice gave to you, and hopefully you guys will check it out. We'd love to see so many of you join Method. It's a really great program that's going to guide you through and show you how to train so that you get 12 weeks that's going to lead you up to the season that is going to result in your most successful season to date. So check everything out in the details below. Thanks so much, and have a fantastic new year, and thanks for watching, and we will see you guys on videos soon. Take care.